followed by Michael Yan and Jim Frazee.
Hello, James Bayless for the record. So I guess this is about his agreement. So I'm going to touch base on a few parts of the agreement. First part, I spoke to him personally, my family, part of the Global Alliance, and I spoke to the Prince of AUE. He agrees that anything that he does that makes the Prince not stay face should be a direct violation and basically removed. If you're making the Prince look bad, he needs to go. When you're making the Global Alliance look bad, he needs to go. And since we're arguing about his agreement, Luke, our last meeting, you remember the packet I gave you guys? Thanks to Miss Williams showing me that article, which proved to the fact, if he wants to argue his contract, you can get him for embezzling. Let him argue.
Mr. Bayless, you know better. Come on.
I'm just saying, that's a good argument. You leave without the money or get locked up. Hey, it's a good choice.
Don't address Miss.
I apologize. So as far as the agreement, well, I know he misused his place on the board a few hundred times as far as the school board and the Global Alliance. He bullied the very mayor standing in this very building for my son's situation, using the Global Alliance's power to do it. So if we're going to say this contract needs to go, the Global Alliance contract also needs to go. I personally spoke to my uncle, and I'm working on getting Miss Williams to take his seat on the Alliance. I think she would be the most see fit to take care of his business, obviously, that he couldn't do. So I would elect you guys to actually take care of that the quiet way, because either way, I can get it done my way. So I would recommend it being done. And as far as other science projects in high schools, we should probably keep top secret ones out of the curriculum. Be a good idea. And as far as agreements, I think as far as Global Alliance and the school board, the man's been here. We were obviously here in October. A lot of people wanted him gone. We should have had him gone then. The fact that all the schools he closed in 2018, no protocols. That's why we're dealing with the shit we're dealing, excuse my language, the stuff we're dealing with now. The school not being safe, the staff being not safe, the kids. Because of him withdrawing that money, paying it to the Global Alliance to get his butt in a seat is why we are dealing with the crap we deal with. 2018, when he withdrew that money and closed out those schools, created a massive security issue for the whole system. There's your problem. So with that being done and not staying face to everybody here and not doing the proper protocols to make the Prince look good, he violated his contract in itself. With that being done, it's when not void. So whatever's written there is pretty much, might as well say it looks like a crayon, and it should not be a void if the contract was a void when he started. With that 43%, again, that was done under false pretense. With the 43 and not excluding the 47. So if you write a contract under false pretense, it's not a void in itself. So therefore, yeah, he shouldn't get a dime.
Michael Yan, followed by Jim Frazee. And after Jim Frazee, we have Camilla Bywaters.
Thank you, Madam President, trustees. For the record, my name is Jim Frazee. I'm a high school teacher here in Clark County and also the honor of being vice president of CCEA. No, no, no. Trustee Brooks said earlier that we keep moving the goalposts. We keep moving the goalposts. No, trustee, we do not. Superintendent Jar keeps on fumbling the ball backwards. It just appears the goalposts are moving. Okay. I can tell you this, I like Henry David Thoreau's statement that consistency is a hobgoblin of little minds, that you should keep an open mind and change it as the facts change. There has been no bigger supporter of Superintendent Jar than myself in the early years, but he asked to be judged on his performance, and that's exactly what we're doing. I expect him to show up for work tomorrow, as you should expect me to show up for work tomorrow. There are so many items, scandals, whatever you want to call them, surfacing around him that he deserves to clear his name and stay in and fight if that's what he chooses to do. If he chooses to walk away, that should not be with taxpayer dollars. Okay. Madam President, you said that this is personal and all the personal tax. I can assure you there is nothing personal about this for me. It is based on performance. I thank you for your time, and I ask you to vote no on this. Thank you.
Camilla Bywaters, followed by Dr. Bemo. After Dr. Bemo, Greta Blunt Johnson.
Camila Bywaters, President of the Las Vegas Alliance of Black School Educators, Chair for Education for the National Action Network, Co-Chair for the National Association for Equal Justice in America, and I'm also a candidate for the Board of School Trustees for District E. Total opposition for this agenda item, and it's even more disheartening when there's like this $1 million agreement that we've learned has possibly happened in a discussion before following the proper protocols. Some may call me an angry Black woman, and I'm going to embrace that term because my education at Howard University doesn't teach me to allow a leader who has brought no results to bully us into believing that he needs to be paid millions of dollars for bringing no results. $1.2 million is an insult to the teachers who had to fight for an increase. 1.2, whatever the $1 million are, is an insult to the Black families that come before LAVAPSI often because their leader has not supported them. Have you sat with Black and Hispanic mothers crying because their child is about to be expelled unfairly? And we're gonna say that the superintendent deserves $1.2 million? Yeah, I'm angry. Yeah, I'm angry. Because why? We have given somebody a job to improve the conditions of our district, and we've made it worse, and we've seen that today. The chaos that is created in the room, and I have criticized the chaos that has been created before in this boardroom. There is no way that we can allow this to happen. We have seen, this is the first time in a million years, I'm gonna say, that we have seen board members listen to the community. And we're hoping that you continue it because 2.01 and 2.02 is a bully move. I'm gonna not show you results. I'm going to do what I want to do and tell you how to pay me for things that I haven't even proven or shown. When the superintendent was evaluated, we literally had 4 pages of an evaluation to show what can you show in 4 pages? Teacher evaluations are way longer than that. It will be a disrespect to students, a disrespect to their teachers, a disrespect to the support staff, a disrespect definitely to the people who say that working in the yard is like being a slave. To give this person $1.2 million to change the trajectory of his family, and you have people over here in the district who say that working for this district.
Dr. Bemo, are you still here? Thank you. Is Greta present? Greta. Okay. After Dr. Bemo, we'll have Vicki Kreidel. Vicki. Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Tiffany Bemo for the record. Termination for convenience. Should that even be a thing with investigations pending? It seems the easy answer is no, and with the community riled up, the answer should be a resounding no. Teachers are allowed to use their sick days. As teachers, if we don't use our sick days, we get paid approximately $4 a day for them at retirement. That feels like a late night commercial where I'm rescuing an elephant on a reserve. $4 a day. My daily rate for a sub is way more than $4 a day, and I'm sure the superintendent has a much higher daily rate than myself. I'm not an attorney, and I don't play one on TV, but I don't understand how with investigations pending, Section A is not coming into play. It's here in the documents you provided in black and white. Additionally, in the event Dr. Jara tenders his resignation while an investigation relating to his employment is pending, Dr. Jara is not entitled to receive any wages in lieu of notice or administrative leave, blah, 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 blah. Table this idea for convenience and really think about what this looks like to the public, because it's not a good look. The public is already distrustful. Much of what's happening tonight is very scary. These are the stakeholders. We, CCSD, need them to trust us. They already don't. So think about what you're doing. Please vote no. Thank you.
Vicki Cradell, followed by Walter Jones.
Good evening. Vicki Cradell, NEA SN President and Reading Strategist for CCSD. I urge you not to terminate the superintendent for the convenience of the board. If his resignation isn't going to happen, do nothing. You said you were concerned about the vitriol, but he's actively fed into that. He's created this mess. Please don't use our dollars to help him get out of it. We teach our students how to have personal responsibility. If you make mistakes, you own up to them. Let's help him be personally responsible for his actions. Don't take this action. And honestly, if it's true that someone in the Nevada legislature came to you with this idea and gave you the idea to find a way to get rid of him, then let's ask the Nevada legislature to fund it, because they seem to have no trouble funding a lot of other things. Thank you.
Walter Jones. Yep, Walter Jones, followed by Anna Binder. Anna, are you still here?
She's next door.
Oh, okay. Anna Binder, and then Alexis Esparza. Go ahead, Mr. Jones.
Hello, everyone. Walter Jones again, the third Vice President of National Action Network. Once again, something don't go your guys' way, you leave, stalled everybody out for an hour. What are we going to do? 7 of you guys are elected in. What are we showing the constituents? Every time it's a problem, if it don't go your guys' way, you're going to leave? You done that when they talked about firing Jara. His whole staff got up and left. Come back to the next board meeting, you guys voted a new president, then turn around, he gave his whole staff, all of them, 75 to 100% raise. But then it took you guys 9 months to get a staffer raise. So you guys need to start thinking about what's more important. Like I said before, start putting the kids and the staff first. This meeting started at 4 o'clock. And you got mad because it was 4 to 3. And now you call it a 1 hour meeting. That's unacceptable. Get this stuff together, please. Thank you.
That Anna Binder is not present? No, right? Okay. Alexis Esparza is still here? Okay. We're going to move on to yellow cards. Individuals who signed up. We're going to start with Laura Janine Penrod, followed by Sarah Evans.
All right. Good evening, Madam President, trustees, and Deputy Superintendent. My name is Laura Jeannie Penrod. My journey as a high school educator has spanned 17 years in Clark County School District. I am the current 2024 Nevada State Teacher of the Year. I have taught disciplines ranging from special education, English language learners, as well as English language arts, and I currently teach Nevada State's dual credit at Southwest CTA. I am a passionate educator, committed and veteran teacher who values my district, community, and being an educator in CCSD. I have formed strong relationships with our community and continue to advocate for and with them. I would like to take a moment to share my thoughts with you during this time of possible transition. We are in a moment of change that can truly be transformative. It sounds like we need to move forward as a community. Leadership matters. Though I would prefer we don't approve this, we need to refocus as a community on what matters, which is our students, our educators, our families, and our community, and the future of CCSD in Nevada. Community has not been seen as a partner, but as a threat. And administrators, teachers, and students have paid the price. While we all have our part in playing the role of making things better in CCSD. This moment is an opportunity for everyone to take a breath and reset. Whoever is ultimately appointed to this leadership position moving forward deserves to have the support of the entire community behind them as we heal and move forward. Taking the time to conduct a search, listen to the community, interview candidates, build trust, and develop a shared vision, including invested partnership, is the work we need to be doing now. To simply move past the real challenges, the hurt, because it's deep, and possibilities of this moment would be a disservice to everyone who shows up every day to make things better for the young people in our community. How might we bring the community with you on this journey to truly give our next superintendent the gift of that support and to reinvest us all in the recognition that we can be the change we need to see? Thank you.
Sarah present. Sarah, yep. Followed by Ernest Mackey. Ernest.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Evans, and I'm here today with SCIU Local 1107. As union representing 20,000 workers and their families, many of who are parents here in Clark County, we are seriously We need real transparency, not secret deals that happen behind closed doors. Anointing another individual from this failing administration as superintendent without substantive community input would be a huge mistake by members of this board. We urge you to take the time necessary to hear from members of this community. Giving Superintendent Jara a buyout right before he is required to turn over data from his Twitter account also strikes many members of this community as suspicious and irresponsible, particularly when Twitter data may prove that Dr. Jara made a misogynistic tweet directed towards CCEA president. This board and Clark County taxpayers will be far better off utilizing patience to let the facts come out. When our kids are struggling, we cannot afford to hand out golden parachutes to our top executives. The issues facing Clark County School District are significant, and they go far beyond one bad actor. We need structural reform and that hold district leadership accountable and restore confidence in our schools. Thank you very much.
Ernest, followed by Rodney Smith, and then Daniel, Bello.
Hello, board. Good evening. My name is Ernest Mackey, and I'm gonna have to change my speech a little bit because I don't want to repeat the same thing everybody else is saying. So, you know, when you have a little virus, it trickled down. So it's not just Mr. Jara need to go. It's the people who followed him and knew what he was doing. It done trickled all the way down to the high school and other schools, especially Las Vegas High School. That staff, it really need to go, especially when they're directing the kids. Don't go home and tell your parents what's happening at the school, especially when there's physically actions going on there that's inappropriate. They set your kid down and tell them, you better not go home and tell your parent or else there's consequences. You guys need to investigate and check out the virus from some on this board who supports him, all the way down to superintendents who sitting in here, all the way down to the school. And right now at this time, I'm going to take further action. I've been telling you this for over 2 years. I'm going to continue to come and put this in front of you. After next week, when my kids get to counseling, after 2 years, because you all been denying it and turning me back around, just like hitting a brick wall, you got 2 more weeks before action is really coming down on you. Thank you.
Rodney Smith. After Rodney, we have Daniel and then Christian Kiliani.
Good evening, Madam President, Deputy Superintendent, trustees. Thank you for giving the people an opportunity to speak to you tonight. And thank you all for listening to the people tonight. I hope that this is the establishment of a trend. I typically prefer not to come to these meetings, but this particular meeting, I was asked by many people from my community to come and represent them on this particular issue. You see, the last time I was here before you, and there was another issue with Superintendent Jara, he told me to judge him on his performance. Well, there's been some time past, but his performance has not changed. Our district is still pretty much the same, and in some cases, it's worse. So the thought of him being released and then be paid for his lack of productivity in our greatest resource, which is our children, would really be a travesty to represent who we are and what we should be doing in the best interest of our children. I believe Superintendent Jara should stay for a while, and if he wants to leave, he leaves with no taxpayer money beyond his last paycheck. And I think that that's something that we really need to take seriously because it sets a tone for our children. He told me that children were what he would be focused on and improving the performance of his district. His district is not improved. So it hasn't improved. If he wants to go, please let him go, but not with our taxpayer money. And when people came to me, one of the things they said was, Rodney, did you know that the tapes came out? I said, what tapes? You know what happened at Durango. The thing that he said that when those tapes come out, it would exonerate those police officers. Well, it didn't exonerate those police officers. As a matter of fact, he supported those police officers, what happened at Durango, and the tapes speak for themselves. Superintendent Jara does need to go, but not with extra taxpayer money. Thank you.
Is Daniel present? No? Chris?
Good evening. Let me just start. I do apologize, Madam President, for talking out during that. That was not appropriate on my part. I am going to read, so it's clear what this agenda item is for. Termination of agreement by convenience. The board may terminate this agreement by providing Dr. Hara with 30Superintendent, there's a clause that says, in the event that Dr. Hara terminates his agreement with an effective date which precedes the end of the term of this agreement or any extension thereof, Dr. Hara shall not be entitled to any benefit that accrues at the end of the term of the extension. Perhaps an item should be brought back using that language with the resignation that came in so that there's no additional pay that's made to him. And that may get you to where you wanted to go, which was try to calm some of this down and try to move forward. But it doesn't treat him differently than anybody else. In addition to that, if I look at the letter of the resignation, I know the attorney said that it went to her, but it's on CCSD letterhead and it went to the board secretary. be that as it may, you do have a letter of resignation that you could take back up and consider, but do it in a more appropriate way and then move forward if that's what you truly want to do. Thank you.
Okay, colleagues, at this time, entertaining discussion. Begin with Trustee Williams in the air.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll go last. I'll let everybody else talk and then I'll chat.
Thank you, Trustee Williams. Trustee Guzman?
Thank you, President Garcia Morales. I would like to start our discussion with a motion, because I'd like to make a motion to approve a conditional termination for convenience with a request for council to negotiate alternative terms to the termination for convenience clause of his contract.
Thank you, Trustee Guzman. Do we have a second? Trustee Cavazos?
I would like to second the motion and ask the maker of the motion if she would consider making the motion a little bit more specific. Is she saying that we're going to bring this back to negotiate for a monetary sum or to negotiate for no payment of taxpayer funds?
Trustee Guzman?
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know. I think that we are entering into negotiations, and with negotiations in the contract, I think we take a look at all of that information. Obviously, with the last vote, we're not going to enter into negotiations with the last amount, but I am open to anything, actually, because what we're looking at is a conditional termination, right? We've basically said we don't want to accept his resignation. So what I am trying to do is direct the attorney to enter into negotiations and bring it back to us.
Thank you for that clarification, Trustee Guzman. Then I would offer another modification. Could we bring that back? Let me think how to word this correctly. Could we bring that back as an agenda item of a termination with cause instead of convenience?
That's not my motion. So if you would like to make a motion for that, you can. But my motion is to approve a conditional termination for convenience with a request for council to negotiate alternative terms. So if you would like to, since I don't have a second, if you would like to make a motion, you can.
We have not allowed. Thank you very much, Trustee Guzman. I'd like to hear
Madam
from colleagues.
President?
Yes, Trustee Williams.
Thank you. I'm sorry not to, kind of tough to get into a queue here. But I wanted to ask council if we're even able to do that because it actually contradicts his current standing contract. I believe we can actually ask the council to go back and negotiate a deal, but we can't negotiate a deal based on his current contract.
Council, did you register that?
I couldn't fully register that, but let me answer, and maybe if she can hear us, that'll answer her question. You guys can stay within the bounds of 2.02. Trustee Guzman's motion would have been within the bounds of 2.02.
And also, President Garcia Morales, I was not done talking.
Did you second that?
I didn't get really a clear answer. I think Trustee Guzman was attempting to state that I could make a separate motion, but I was trying to get an answer whether the negotiations would include a monetary payout, and she accommodated me by stating she didn't know. So I would basically be withdrawing my second for her motion. I just wanted to put that on the record so that we are following protocol. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Cavazos. I believe we understood that it's not, that it was, that you did not have a second. So I am currently seeking a second for.
I'll second, Madam President.
Thank you, Trustee Williams. Okay. Colleagues, we have a motion by Trustee Guzman, a second by Trustee Williams. Trustee Guzman, can you please clarify again the motion for me?
Yes. My motion is to approve a conditional termination for convenience with a request for counsel to negotiate alternative terms to the termination for convenience clause of his contract, for the convenience clause of his contract.
Thank you, Trustee Guzman. All right, colleagues, this is our motion. Please cast your vote. Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I see, thank you. That motion carries 5-2. Colleagues, we are now going to move on to item 2.03. This is an action item. We do have individuals who signed up in advance, and if anybody who would like to speak on this particular item has not submitted their yellow card, please do so now.
Can I have a point of clarification from council before we start this, please?
Yes, please.
Council, since we have not terminated the contract and we have asked you to go back and negotiate, would we table this agenda item until that has been completed and then bring it back?
That would make the most sense, the way the item is as written. Yes, that would make the most sense.
Okay, thank you. I would like to make the motion to table this item.
Thank you, Trustee Guzman. I see a couple of members in the queue.
Point of clarity?
Yes.
Do we actually need to make a motion, or can we just move on?
Excuse me, Council.
You can just take no action.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I see no action. Okay, very good. To clarify, we do not need an action for this particular item. But however, I see Trustee Cavazos in the queue.
Can you clarify that, please? When you are saying that we are taking no action, are you talking, can Trustee Guzman clarify, and the attorney? For everyone's clarification here, because I don't like to change the rules as we go along, which we seem to do sometimes. So what exactly is being tabled? And we already voted on this, so can council please clarify?
There's nothing being tabled.
There's nothing being tabled.
No action is being taken. As we sit here right now, no action is being taken on 2.03.
Okay, so 2.02, we were not referring to that because I immediately heard people in the audience asking.
2.02 has passed.
Thank you.
With an amendment.
Thank you so much.
Council, at this time, can we move to the upcoming, the next section? Yes. Public comment, excuse me, on items not listed on action items on the agenda. Colleagues, it looks like we have some individuals who signed up in advance for this item. 3.01. Moving on to item 3.01. This is not an action item. However, individuals who have not had a chance to submit their public comment cards, please do so now. We'll begin with the individuals who signed up in advance. David Gomez, followed by James Bayless, and then Camilla Bywaters. Mr. Gomez, before you begin, just allow me a moment, please. This is I recognize that there are individuals who would have spoken in item 2.03. We are not having that item. However, if you would like to still provide public comment, you can provide that at this time. I just need a notification, some yellow card that has someone's name, the people's name on it, if you want to speak on this particular item. Once Mr. Gomez begins speaking, I will no longer accept yellow cards for that. So just hold tight, Mr. Gomez. So if there are members of the audience who would like to speak, please help me by grabbing a yellow card or thank you. Okay, thank you very much. We will, I've already called Mr. Gomez to come up, so please go ahead. Oh, we still got some folks. Names, just names, first names, last name are okay for this. Thank you, that helps us keep track and allows staff to ensure we provide names correct, right names correctly for the minutes. Thank you. I think we can begin. Mr. Gomez, come on down.
Are you sure?
Mr. Gomez.
All right. David Gomez, for the record, president of Nevada Peace Alliance and a father of 7 children. I wanted to clarify something because I said something in the beginning, which I really meant when I said it. And I don't see 33% of East Las Vegas here. My trustee is Brenda Zamora. Me and Mr. Solero don't make 33%. So because they're not here, obviously the whole community is not here. So I just want to make sure that's clear because there's a lot of people in the west side of Las Vegas as well that are not here. This is way out in the other side of town. A lot of them don't have cars. Some do, some don't. They don't have the expenses to put $6, $5 in the gas to drive all the way over here to have a voice in this measure. So when I say that some of the people here that do represent their groups, they do, but they do not represent the whole entire west side of Las Vegas, neither the east side of Las Vegas. So anybody that says they are here, they're lying to themselves and they're lying to everybody in this room. Because those voices over there help fight against Prime 6, 6th grade centers, and a lot of other things that happen over there. And a lot of people want to say that they're here. I'm sorry, you better take a kite and go fly it out somewhere else. That's crazy. That's insane. So, I feel bad for Miss BLM, because I know they were about to come up here and crucify her. Everybody's good at doing that. They're good at saying, we want him, we want them, we want this. But the first time you say no to their narrative of rifting somebody or helping somebody do something, when you have 4 people that are controlling something somewhere, I'm telling you right now, those 4 people are the same 4 people that are holding their pitchforks and their torches. And they're out there spreading all this stuff. They don't know what it is. Everybody says, oh, I've been here, I've been here, I've been here. Listen, hold on. You got to stop coattailing writing because coattail writing don't get you nowhere. There's a lot of people here that put a lot of work into a lot of things to make a lot of things happen. And I'm going to tell you right now, You know, when I said earlier that people need to face their giants, I really meant that. Because you're not the giant. Neither is JARA, neither is BLM. The giant is their insecurities, their inabilities, and their anger towards what they cannot have in this district. That they cannot manipulate a person, manipulate you guys, or manipulate anyone, period. Because they want what they want. And I can guarantee you, I can point out some other issues where some friends made sure some friends are sitting somewhere.
Did I call Mr. Bayless already? Yeah, come on through, please.
So,
Thank you.
James Billis for the record. So my topic on here is basically family problems. So since since we're in Henderson this time, ironically it pertains to the city. What if I told you that during my investigation through my saga and how I got through, how I ended up over by Flamingo and Lindell, Dr. Jara paid out actually gave somebody a raise and then a great promotion over a company I'm not going to mention because I don't want to put tarnish here because I actually love this city. But there's a company that was pertained to his pride and joy. Ironically, their parts guy got a promotion and a raise to blackmail one of the federal witnesses, and ironically, my fiance. We're no longer together, which was due to him. And ironically, I have witnesses from my beloved omelet house that I love to go eat at that's in our town to testify that Dr. Jar is the one that usually does it. This would be the gang stalking that the rumors through town, you know, all the different rumors that we have that were actually stem from this city. And ironically come from him and people he gets people promotions, give him raises, and hell breaks loose. So that would be something I would actually address to Henderson and the council that they need to rectify because that does need to be fixed. I want my home back. So that's kind of where we're at on that. So aspects to be is, as far as his agendas and everything, let's face it, the man since he got here has caused us problems. He's caused you guys a lot of problems. He's made problems for a lot of nice ladies that it shouldn't have been a problem for. And my trustee, which I still love to death, even though I know she has a lot of headaches, and I don't blame her because I know the hands were tied. And a lot of you guys I hear that are not planning on coming back, I really wish you guys would if we can get rid of the problems, because then maybe we can actually get some things done without hands being tied. Because 9 times out of 10, a lot of the problems were because you guys were told no, and it wasn't by us. So now that he's gone, hey, can we get your brother in cuffs? That would be great. Because Jara's not protecting him now. We need him. I need him personally. Well, only pertaining to this Henderson. There's still a warrant waiting for him. But that would be beautiful, because I know how much you feel about the man, but he did what he did wrong. It's his fault. Don't let it fall on you guys. But I love you guys. You guys have a great day, and obviously have a great night. And thank you for getting rid of the pain in the butt.
Camilla Bywaters, followed by Dr. Bemo and Walter Jones.
Camila Bywaters, president of the Las Vegas Alliance of Black School Educators. Tracy Lewis is the vice president, education chair for National Astro Network. Culture and climate. As we've moved on and we think about leadership, it is absolutely important that we ask ourselves, is the next leader beyond a fancy resume? We can show you doctorate degrees, PhDs, master's degrees, and all of this highlight. But we need a person who can impact culture and climate and bring healing to this district. There is a lot of information in public comment where you can see where community members, students, families, staff members have complained. So my ask is, what did the deputy superintendent do to influence or change any of those instances and circumstances. We just heard a gentleman come up and say that Valley High School is hot like hot peppers on fire. So as we look for another leader moving forward, and that conversation will come up, the question has to be the person who you're considering or thought you were going to consider, what have they done to influence the person they were working with? If you couldn't influence the superintendent, you can't influence nobody else. Not in a way to improve the system, because how I work, when I work with my vice president, we're both influencing the game. I don't have to worry about what Tracy's gonna do because I know that she's gonna do the right thing by students. She don't gotta worry about what I'm gonna do because I'm gonna do right by students. We don't know that right now because we have not seen the data improve with the two people that were in leadership. We have not seen the culture and the climate improve with the two people that are in leadership. So why in the heck would we consider keeping the same old regime in the same place when we're trying to improve this district? If you really care about improving this district, we would look for a leader who's beyond degrees. We need a holistic approach and a person who can bring healing to this district because we have experienced trauma. My understanding, and we get reports about this, LAVAPSI, is that the deputy has meetings with the principals. Did you talk to them about culture and climate? Did you talk to them about some of the principals out here are causing havoc in their students' lives? Did you talk to them about the havoc that they're causing in parents' lives? Did you talk to them about our families who are linguistically diverse and they're struggling to communicate? Did you talk to them about that? No, you didn't, because we still have problems and issues in this district. So when you're thinking about the next leader, it needs to be beyond degrees. It needs to be about education, healing, capacity to bring culture and environment.
Dr. Bimo? Walter Jones? I don't believe Walter is here anymore. Or Anna Binder? Okay. And we'll move on to yellow cards.
Good evening, Dr. Tiffany Bimo for the record. Before I begin, I would like to state that I am a veteran teacher. I'm not white. I don't work in a suburban school. I work in a Title I school. And the look back would have financially benefit a teacher like me. I haven't talked about my personal struggle with the contract, pay freezes, or any of that. But it's disingenuous to say that it wouldn't have helped a teacher like me. On the negotiated CU system, I needed more than my doctorate to move columns. More than my doctorate. Just sharing that because recordings and depositions and bickering and fighting and backroom conversations should not be why veteran teachers continue to be left behind. Back to my story. I wasn't permitted to speak on MAP's presentation at the will of the board president last meeting because it wasn't an action item, but that's okay because the presentation made me really sad. And I wasn't ready to talk about it anyway. I needed to dwell in my sadness. I tell my students that they are more than test scores. They are more than the arbitrary standardized numbers that are printed on the booklets they receive on PSAT or ACT or AP exams. I always stress that it doesn't matter if they get 100% every single time. They should be proud of themselves for showing growth. Page 9 of the reference materials for that meeting, however, show no growth. No growth at all for middle school students in reading. It's the opposite of what I tell my kids. We need to show growth. There was no growth, and that's completely draining and depressing. Absolutely no growth in any category. The next page then showed that 1 in 4 high school students is reading at grade level. That's more depressing. What future are we preparing them for if only 1 in 4 kids is reading at grade level? What businesses will want to come here if our high school graduates can't read? We need more teeth in the game. In middle school, they have no finals. They only have 1.5 classes they need to matriculate to high school. I don't know what's happened since I was in middle school at Garside or my daughter was in middle school at Cashman's Magnet program, but there's got to be a better way to prepare these little folks for high school and help them show growth, to get them in the growth mindset, to prepare them for the challenges they will face, and to push them into the next phase. Because what's happening and what we high school teachers are seeing is not working. No homework, no classwork, social media, phones, earbuds, defiance, fighting, it's crazy. We can throw all the fancy can tier 1 curriculum at them we want, but if they have no buy-in, it won't matter. No growth. No middle school demographic showed growth. That's sad. We should all feel sad. We kill these kids with tests, we demolish their love of learning, and for what? For no growth. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Bimo. I just want the record to reflect that one of the last speakers mentioned Valley High School, that no one mentioned Valley High School. I believe it was another high school. All right, I believe we have some yellow cards, individuals who signed up in advance, signed up today. Mayor Romero, followed by Mary Beth Sewell. Mayor, thank you for allowing us to use your space.
Good afternoon, President Morales and members of the board. Welcome to our chambers. I'm Michelle Romero, Mayor for the City of Henderson. It is rare for me to make a public comment before other boards, but I'm here today because quality education is of utmost importance to the residents and businesses in Henderson and is a strategic priority for the city. Choosing our next superintendent is a critical moment for our entire community. Frankly, it is no surprise that you are considering a decision on superintendent without any public comment. After all, you voted 2 weeks ago on an unlawful policy that silences the voices of the newly appointed trustees and arguably the legislature by ignoring the intent of AB 175. The lack of performance, communication, or any real progress that we've seen from our leadership over the last 5 years has been infuriating, and to settle for more of the same is unacceptable. Today, you have an opportunity to change the course of the district and the legacy of your leadership. I implore you to do the right thing and postpone the decision to conduct a transparent and thorough hiring process. The entire community is watching, and they deserve to have their voices heard. We need you to show true leadership in this moment by performing a fair, nationwide search to find the best superintendent for our schools. That person could come from across the country or from within the district, but we'll never know who may be best suited for the job unless you make it an open process that includes all interested candidates. We need someone who will collaborate with all stakeholders and have honest conversations about what's working and what isn't, regarding student achievement, school safety, teacher recruitment, retention, and funding. There are excellent teachers leading our classrooms today, and they deserve a superintendent who will encourage them to do their very best work and to fully invest in their students for the future this community deserves. We expect teachers, administrators, and staff to provide a positive learning environment for students. So you must act now to build a positive work environment for them. The culture shift needs to start at the top. The families, teachers, administrators, and support professionals in Henderson and my grandchildren are counting on me to stand up and speak for their interests and to demand your very best. The prosperity of our community hangs in the balance, and our students deserve nothing less.
Mary Beth?
Thank you so much. Good evening, President Garcia Morales and members of the school board. For the record, my name is Mary Beth Sewald, and I am the president and CEO of the Vegas Chamber. As you know, the Chamber has been a longtime partner and advocate for student achievement across our entire community. As a partner, we believe that for the next permanent superintendent to be successful, the Clark County Board of School Trustees must conduct a thorough and comprehensive national search. We need the best possible person with a proven track record to lead the school district for the sake of our children. We should not limit our search by geographical restrictions. For this board to fail to do a search for the next superintendent would be unprecedented. It would be unconscionable, and it would be a disservice to our students. It would lead this entire community to question the ability of this board to effectively direct and manage K through 12 education. It would send the message that this board is not open to the wishes of the community and that it is unwilling to explore new ideas and thought leadership. Our entire community is watching. Just this week, the Vegas Chamber held a K through 12 education forum attended by many business and community leaders who absolutely care about the fate of our students. They also have a vested interest in the direct impact that public K through 12 has on the economy, our workforce, and our ability to attract new businesses to Southern Nevada. It was very clear at that event that the quality of our K through 12 education system is directly connected to our future economy. And it is certainly connected to the future of the 300,000 students who depend on you for their success. At our event, we asked what qualities the community wants in the next superintendent. The responses were this: inspiring, leader, proven, accountable, student-focused, compassionate, communicative, intelligent, tenacious, experienced, transparent, and dedicated to serving our community. Our next superintendent must be a convener and consensus builder to address the numerous challenges that exist within the school district and to understand the different student needs across our diverse community. We urge this board to take into consideration all of these factors in selecting the next superintendent. As a community, we owe it to our future generations to give them the tools they need to succeed. And when future generations can succeed, our community thrives. Thank you so much for your time this evening. We at the Vegas Chamber and the business community are looking forward to this school board conducting a national search for Clark County School District's next superintendent. Thank you very much.
Councilwoman Cox, followed by Ms. Ford.
Good evening. I welcome you to our chamber, and I do not have prepared remarks, but I feel I would be amiss to sit and not get up as an educator of 33 years and 7 children, 11 grandchildren, 4 of whom graduated from the Clark County School District. Several years ago, I pulled my children from the Clark County School District, and I left the district because of the disappointment of where we continue to be. I had hoped as the board continued to change that we would see better for our community. I appreciate your hard work. I know as a leader in this community that it's not easy, but we need better. Our kids deserve better. You deserve better. Our teachers deserve better. As an educator, really at the end of her time being an educator, please help our kids. We lose focus when we're not thinking about the kids. All of your decisions have to be on the best interest of our children in our community. If your focus is that, you will not go wrong. We must have a nationwide search. And I miss the Brian Cram days, by the way. Can we please find a Brian Cram who will lead our district with compassion, intelligence, drive, and set some goals and reach them? Please. I don't want to be negative. I'm just asking for your help because I am so tired of watching it. I have a 14-year-old who's back in the district this year, and we're going to pull her after the end of this year again. I gave the district another chance because she really wanted to attend a district school. We have great schools in the district. We have great teachers in the district. And while we remain at 49th and 50th in the nation, we have to find a way now. There's no more time for our children. Please, you are our leaders in the education arena. Please get together. The factions that are on our board need to stop, come together, and make good decisions for our kids. I appreciate your time tonight, President Morales and the board, for listening. Thank you.
Ms. Ford? Followed by Chris Giuliani.
Thank you. Danielle Ford, former trustee of the Clark County School Board, for the record. I don't have prepared remarks. I was waiting to see how this went down, so I just want to share a little bit of insight from when I was on the board and things that I learned. I believe that this entire process needs to be investigated thoroughly. Something I was taught by two different attorneys that we had was that if JARA was to come up and talk to one trustee individually, we would have to say, or about his employment contract, we'd say, whoa, 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 stop right there. Contact our attorney. This isn't a conversation I can have with you one-on-one. At which point our attorney would then bring the full board in and say, here's what I heard from the superintendent. So flipping that around, imagine a trustee, an individual trustee, taking the initiative to actually go and have that conversation with the superintendent. That needs to be looked at before any other item comes in front of the public. Having discussions with the superintendent about operations of the district is one thing, but when it is about his contract, that's a whole other line that should not be crossed. The way that it should have gone down is that a meeting should have been called, an item for the public with multiple options. The superintendent should have been here, or that item should have ended. That's the opportunity for trustees to say, hey, I see that you want to resign. Here's what you're asking. I hear you. Could we interest you in this amount of money, this term for the rest of your employment? But him not being here didn't even offer that conversation to happen. Nicole Malich is not an employment attorney. Then your next move needs to be to direct Nicole Malich to contract and retain a third-party conflict-free employment firm. That's going to cost less than whatever it's going to cost to pay out JARA in the future. The school board has continually failed to represent their constituents, continually failed to be good public stewards of their funds. It's out of control at this point. 3 minutes isn't going to cut it. That's why I recently launched my new podcast, Unraveling Education. You can find it at unravelingeducation.com. The latest episode stars Trustee Brooks, Trustee Garcia Morales, yours is coming. I'm currently in discussions about a class action lawsuit on behalf of the Clark County taxpayers against the school board. So if anybody wants to join me in that or join me in flipping the board this election cycle, let me know. Go to unravelingeducation.com/fightback and we will be in touch.
Ed Gonzalez will be next.
Thank you. I agree that we need to have a search. Without the input from the public, you will create more problems. You all are going to have to also learn how to play in the same sandbox in order to make sure that somebody even wants to apply for a job. And that is one thing that you've created, these barriers of that added to the dysfunction. I have the binders and I have read through all your governance policies. I think you need to throw them out and start over, because the paper became part of your barrier and you were not articulating, you were talking to each other. Well, board policy 4.02 tells me I can do this. You have put up barriers to each other under the guise of governing. And so I would suggest to you, you have a two-prong approach. One is hire somebody, group, whatever, to come in and talk and sit with teachers and ask them what do they like, what do they dislike, what's working, what isn't working. Do the same thing with principals, same thing with support personnel, same thing with maintenance, same thing with bus drivers. Hear from the people that actually work here about what they'd like to see in a superintendent, but what is working and what isn't, and look at the climate and the culture within our schools. Then parallel that to a search for a superintendent. Because otherwise you're just going to get the same old recycled garbage. And this is a great district. It could be so much better. And our kids are great kids, and it could be so much better for them. But the focus seems to be the adults are fighting amongst each other For what, I don't know. You don't get paid well enough. That's a whole nother story. But be that as it may, it always reflects back on the district itself, and that's not fair to the kids. It's not fair to the parents that actually try to show up. So I think you really need to talk about a two-pronged approach. I also think you need, with no disrespect, to have an outside attorney that is the board's attorney. You also need to hire a contract employment attorney. And on the last vote, I'm still not sure what you did. So let me see if I got it correctly. Did you say to start entering into negotiations with Ms. Malich, who's not a contract attorney, under what framework, what dollar amount, what? I would suggest you bring back an agenda item to give her someone direction. I think you really do need a contract attorney of what should be done there. And then that contract attorney could be utilized to go through the current contracts and see where there's weaknesses in the termination language, where there's weaknesses in the hiring language, the evaluation language, so that you have a different set of eyes that actually work in that area that will be guiding you as you put something together for another person. But no matter what, with no disrespect, do not hire someone other than an interim on a short period basis and do a complete search. But do a deep dive into the climate and the culture that's going on in our classrooms before you start that.
Ed Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, Deputy Superintendent Larson Mitchell. For the record, my name is Ed Gonzalez. I do sit as a community member on the Hickey School Elementary organizational team, and I am a former member of the Robert Taylor School Elementary organizational team. Before I get started, I do want to thank my mayor, my councilwoman for speaking today, Carrie Cox and Mayor Michelle Romero, or I should say Councilwoman Cox. My concern here is, boy, this has been a meeting. But my concern is also the transparency that what we saw. I do agree with the motion that Trustee Guzman brought forward, which is if you're going to terminate the contract of the superintendent, and it's clear that 10 out of the 11 members on here are not supportive of the superintendent, that can't continue. So instead of having the first part of what is the dollar amount, things of nature, that's a better motion. And I think the issue I have is the transparency of how this all took place. You know, the idea that a trustee would go to the superintendent and talk about a resignation. One, we have conversations about how an individual trustee can't act for the board. I don't think that's appropriate, even when it's the president of the school board. But there's also other things I'm concerned about too. We heard that there was legislative leadership, the speaker was involved on this. I want that transparency too. What was their role in this resignation or changing the superintendent? Because I think that is just as equally inappropriate. So I would like the school district to release those records to say what was the legislative leadership telling you guys and what pressure was put onto you. But I also think the biggest issue that I have right now is whether this board does a interim or a permanent superintendent, is we need to have some community input. Look, I think about what happened at Rancho High School. They have a new principal. That SOT had a town hall. They got community impact. In fact, my understanding is that they're interviewing tomorrow for the principal meeting with the SAS. That team got more input than what we are going to get for a superintendent in this district. And, you know, I'm going to be honest, I don't know you, Deputy Superintendent Larson Mitchell. I've heard a lot of people say a lot of comments here, but you know what? That's unfair to you. If this board wants to put her in an interim, fine. I would just like to know more about you besides the resume, and that's not anything on you. I would like to know what her vision might be. Is it going to be the continuation of what Dr. Jar did? Is there going to be some changes? Is she going to go a different route? I know people here mentioned about Brian Cram being here, but I'm going to mention Walt wasn't bad either. He was a good superintendent as well, if you remember Walt. But the idea that we just want to know what's the next step here? How do we move forward, right? I can grandstand here all I want, but that's not the point of this. What's the next step when we do this? So if you're going to appoint an interim, or if the choice is going to be Brenda Larson Mitchell, I would like to know what her vision is. So with 10 seconds, Madam President, I guess I'll yield back. Thank you.
Yvette Williams, followed by Rudy Zamora, and then Stephanie Gamecho.
Good evening, Madam President and Board. And I want to first say, Yvette Williams, Chair of the Clark County Black Caucus. But I want to first extend my congratulations to all of our new board members. I see many familiar faces, but I'm really excited that you are part of this board and look forward to the work and contributions that you will make. I wanted to speak on 2.03, but I'm going to put that into my public comment. I did send emails to all of you, so you should have that email from us. So on behalf of Clark County Black Caucus, we understand that public is not always aware of information privy to you and your board concerning negotiations of the superintendent and his departure from CCSD. Therefore, we do not believe we are able to weigh in with full knowledge. However, we adamantly oppose any decision to appoint a CCSD superintendent without the full participation of the public through community engagement by our elected officials and those appointed. And I don't want to make that division in the future because you are trustees. The notion to move forward without community engagement and participation is contrary to the precedents already established in Nevada and undermines the basic tenets of our democracy and public representation on such an important issue as education in our district. After all, we all have a vested interest in student outcomes, quality education, and certainly district leadership and values. CCBC took a strong stand in opposition to legislative efforts to appoint all CCSD trustees and instead supported the current hybrid model. We fear that your decision to move forward without public input would jeopardize the progress made in this regard, putting the future of an elected board at risk once again. In closing, our position does not reflect on any opinion of the current deputy, as we've not been given the opportunity to evaluate their work. However, it is our strong opinion that pushing through an appointment would do them a disservice of having a fair opportunity to be successful if they start their tenure already with public opposition because of your process. They should have the opportunity to make their case to the public and earn their support, instead of having to overcome opposition at the onset. Therefore, we ask that the board exercise patience and allow for an interim role as superintendent to get us through the last few months of this school year by a member of the current executive team that will not seek a permanent role as superintendent, and allow for a search process of qualified applicants with community input. We are happy to submit our recommendation for the.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Rudy, followed by Stephanie Camacho, and then Flor Diaz.
Awesome. For the record, Rudy Zamora. I had a whole thing prepared, but I just want to start off by saying thank you for wasting our damn time tonight. We were here for one thing, and that was to get our input on 2.03. You all decided to toy with our time again because you think that our time is not valuable. Clearly, that's where you stand. I'm also here to say that I think we should open up the search for a superintendent. I started a petition online and I encourage people to sign it. We're up to 900 signers right now, encouraging you all to do your damn jobs and open that for a national search.
Rudy, you've been here in public comment before. You know better than to be disrespectful to anyone in this room. I need you to change your tone.
Okay.
That easy.
I just need you all to do your jobs. I'm saying it in a friendlier tone. Do your jobs. I'm not saying that the deputy superintendent's not the right choice, but we need to open it up. We also heard people in the audience say that community is not here. We have 900 people that agree with me. We have people that cannot drive all the way out here, people that don't have the time to have their time wasted like you all wasted our times tonight. Again, I'm gonna close this by saying the search should be open, and if I'm going to be completely honest and open with you all, I don't think this board should be the one that hires the next superintendent, because you guys clearly don't know what you are doing with the one employee that you have fired, rehired, and can't get your stuff together tonight. Again, maybe we should wait till after elections when the three people that are problems are not going to be here. Thank you.
Stephanie, are you present? Stephanie, come on up, please. State your name for the record. Followed after Stephanie, we have Flor Diaz, and then Irma Melina Camarino.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephanie Joanna Camerino Merino. I am a student from Rancho High School. I'm here with Make the Road Nevada as a member of their Young program. I urge the trustees and anyone in power to please carefully consider who's the next superintendent will be and make sure that it will improve the quality of our education. My peers and I urge you to please keep us students' best interests in mind when making decisions that directly affect us. Please ensure that the individual that is chosen will uphold the standards of our education within our district. Thank you.
Flor?
Good evening, Board of Trustees. I'm Flor. I'm a first-year UNLV student and the youth organizer for Make the Road Nevada. And I urge the trustees to please consider the community's opinion when picking the next superintendent. As a former CCSD student and who has family members who are currently enrolled in CCSD, I feel as if we have been failed time and time again. And it is not okay that we are ranked 49 in education. It is not okay how we are trying to spend our taxpayers' money. That should be going into improving our education instead. Our next superintendent should be qualified to serve our massive community, know the issues of local Las Vegas students face, and have experience improving school systems, because that's the least that our students deserve. I urge for more transparency on where the funding goes and to invest more into our student quality education. And I urge you to please listen to our community and not fail us any further. All the students that I organized, I had more that wanted to come and speak, but since you guys are wasting our time, an hour is like, it's past our bedtime. Like, I got my little cousins right here, and one of them is asleep. So I feel like you guys are disrespecting us as students. And look, we're literally got last to speak. We were supposed to speak on agenda 2.03, and we did not get a chance. And I take that as disrespectful, and that's all I gotta say. Thank you, guys.
Irma? Ms. Binder, you were on the list earlier. Do you still want to provide remarks after Irma? Thank you.
Hello. Good afternoon, Board of Trustees. My name is Irma Melina Camerino Merino, and I am here with Make the Road Nevada in the youth program. As a middle school student of CCSD, I would like to see funding going into bettering the quality of our education. We should be investing in better resources like technology and teacher training. Please keep in mind student success and the betterment of our community. I want someone who is actually qualified. Thank you for listening.
It's okay. Hi. Again. All right. Anna Binder for the record, Madam President, members of the board. I'm sure this was difficult. We all watched it, right? I can't imagine being in your chairs because these conversations are conversations that we all do deserve to hear. So I thank everyone for their courage, for their words, for their wisdom, for their participation. I thank our community again. At one of the last meetings, I think you guys had, either it was a work session or whatnot, you were talking about some of the training and the community meetings that were going to be coming up this year. But I know I didn't come to the meeting, but I was listening. And as you guys know, I was really disheartened because you know how to have community meetings. The district knows how to have them. We've had really successful ones over the years. I know the trustees haven't really had like their parental engagement or their community meetings, at least individually within their own districts. We've had a couple that some of the trustees have stepped forward and provided our community, and they were obviously, as you guys know who attended, they were very much needed. And so as accessible as all of you are by phone, text, email, it is important that you come out and talk to people, whether it's in the community center, our high, any of our schools, our gyms, our theaters. Again, tonight is just a fraction of the people that exist and live and try to thrive in Clark County. And Again, I'll just reiterate, it affects my children, it affects our teachers, your children, sure, my grandchildren. And so I think as you guys are planning and moving forward with those, that there isn't a huge gap of time before they start happening, because our seasoned and sitting trustees very much know how to have those, and our new members, I'm sure, supported by the municipalities in which appointed you, and they have the facilities and the means to help you guys even with yours. But I do appreciate the accessibility, the responses and the participation that we are allowed, right, in the rules and everything. But I think that we really do need to bring that public comment policy back, because I just drained my battery tonight live streaming, so that the community could see the faces of every single person who took the time to be here tonight to say what they felt they needed or wanted to say. So again, thank you all for this. I know it's not easy at all. And in the future, we can prevent speculation with a little more transparency. I don't know what anyone wants us to do when we only get a crumb and then we're left for a week or two to speculate, right? And we don't like speculation.
All right, colleagues, we're going to move on to item 4.01, the upcoming meeting of the Board of Trustees, Thursday, February 8th, tomorrow, 5 p.m. here at the City Henderson Council Chambers. Thank you, City of Henderson, for hosting us. Okay, at this time, colleagues, I'm seeking a motion to adjourn. Excuse me, Trustee Bustamante Adams.
Yes, Madam President, I move to adjourn.
Thank you, Trustee Bustamante Adams. Trustee Guzman?
I second.
Thank you, Trustee Guzman. Colleagues, we have a motion to adjourn the meeting. Please cast your vote. Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Thank you, colleagues. That motion passes 7-0. Time is 8:36. Have a great evening. Night. Have a great night.